What's up, guys? It's Jake here with Two Dudes Reviews, and I am bringing you a review of Cult of Chucky. First of all, some backstory. Child's Play, one of my all-time favorite horror movies. When I was a kid, I was probably 9 or 10. I saw Child's Play for the first time, and needless to say, it scared the shit out of me. But as you can see from some of our other videos, Willie Talk, you can find him on Facebook, like his page. He kind of goes with that idea of it's better to own what you fear rather than letting the fear own you, I guess. Some backstory to the timeline of Child's Play. Not necessarily the storyline, but behind the scenes, movie-wise. Child's Play came out in 1989. Child's Play 2 came out in 1990. Child's Play 3 came out in 1991. And then Bride of Chucky, after Child's Play 3, if you've ever seen it, it's not the best. The original cast is all gone, and none of them returned. So I think that was when the production, or I should say the movie company said, yeah, this franchise is out the door. No one's going to care about this franchise anymore. But I give it to Don Mancini, the director and writer of Child's Play, for sticking to his guns. He believed in Chucky. He believed that he was a cultural horror icon. And 7 years later, he released Bride of Chucky. Now, it seemed like a big stretch, 7 years between one and the other. Well, then you have to come into play of the next movie, Curse of Chucky. While 7 years seems long, double that, I believe. I want to say it was... No, actually, no. Bride of Chucky came out in 1998. Cult of Chucky came out in 2013. 15 years later. He continued the story, but go back and watch Curse of Chucky if you haven't seen it yet, because Curse of Chucky is a really good movie. It's a reimagining, or I should say, it's his way of rebooting the franchise, but also keeping the main story there. 15 years after making Bride of Chucky, he came out with Curse of Chucky, and then 4 years after Curse of Chucky, this year, he came out with Cult of Chucky. So almost 30 years after starting the Child's Play franchise, he was able to make it fresh again. There's elements in this movie where I was like, what the hell's going on? I was actually really shocked about the storyline. He adds a little bit more of the main story, or the main thing that Chucky does, his whole prerogative throughout the entire series, as he has to change bodies because he's turning into a human. And then at the end of Seed of Chucky, he's like, screw that, I don't want to be a human, I'm going to be a killer doll, which is cool, because that's who he is. So it was kind of nice. It was like, I mean, Seed of Chucky sucked. Don't go watch that movie if you haven't seen it. Skip that one. It ties in, but it's not that great. They try to play up to the horror anymore. But anyway, going back to Cult of Chucky, I keep getting off a subject. Cult of Chucky is able to refresh itself. He adds a lot more to the whole, I have to get into a human body. There's more play to the voodoo sense, which is really cool. I actually kind of missed that from the first couple movies. In Cult of Chucky, Nika from Curse of Chucky is back, played by Fiona Dorff, which is Brad Dorff, the guy who voices Chucky. It's his daughter, which is really cool to see them bring something like that in. But she's a phenomenal actress, actually. I give her credit for everything that she does in Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky. She's got a lot of brings a lot of character to that kind of movie. But it follows Nika. But spoiler to the end of Curse of Chucky, Andy Barclay comes back. Alex Vincent, the original actor, is there, and he opens up a box where Chucky's coming out of, and he blows him away because he's like, "Sup, friend," and blows him away. And then that exact storyline carries over. So Andy, for the first time in 91, 26 years, returns to his role as Andy Barclay, which is really cool because that's the first two movies were made by Andy. Andy's what made those movies, so it's good to have him back. He's not the main focus. Nika is actually the main focus. She's in a psychological facility surrounded by people, and then you see a good guy doll show up somewhere along the way, and as you can tell from watching any of the other movies, people don't believe that Chucky's real, and well, that kind of goes south, and people start dying, and well, again, there's a twist in there where you're like, obviously, if you've seen any of them, you know that good guy doll's alive. It's Chucky's gonna start killing people. There's a bigger twist there that I didn't see coming, and that's another thing I really enjoyed about this movie. Don Mancini was able to make it fresh again, that even a seasoned horror fan like myself was like, holy shit. Otherwise, the storytelling, the acting, everything was phenomenal. It's really hard not to give any spoilers away while reviewing this, so I'm going to try to keep it a little short. I know it's been a few minutes that I've been reviewing this, but I can't give a whole lot of stuff away, because there's a lot of spoilers in the storyline. Without giving the main spoiler away, I can't really talk about the rest of the movie. So, I'm just going to talk about the basics. Acting was amazing. I haven't seen Alex Vincent in anything in a really long time, and he's actually pretty dang good for not acting in a whole lot of stuff. I could be wrong. He probably has been like on the radar for a really long time, and I just haven't noticed that he was there. This movie ties in Curse of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and Bride of Chucky more than any of them, but also does bring back all the Child's Play stuff since Andy's there, and they do reference a lot of stuff. There's at one point a nice little Easter egg where Andy walks over to the wall, and he's got a uniform from the third movie. I like the fact that they locked in all three of those movies really well. It's good to see a director and a writer have such a love for something he wrote that even after 20 some odd years, he's still continuing that storyline. And he's saying, screw you to all the movie companies. Warner Brothers, I think, is the one who released this, actually. Or maybe it was Universal. But he's like, I don't care if it has to come out on DVD directly. I want to continue this storyline for the fans. Dan Mancini is amazing as a writer. I was really happy to see. I mean, it's not something that's going to blow your mind. The kills in this movie were obviously top-notch. Chucky movies are always very imaginative, and I think that's why I enjoy them. I know it's weird to say that. It makes me sound like a twisted motherfucker. Tired of rambling. I'm going to give you my review, or my rating now. I'll give Cult of Chucky a really high 4 out of 5. The only reason I won't give it a 5 out of 5, there are a few CG missteps, which I was like, oh, that looks ugly. But it wasn't, like, terrible. It just, you could tell that it was, it looked unnatural. But what do you expect? You got a freaking doll running around everywhere. For the most part, though, it looks really good. It just, like, when you looked at Chucky's legs sometimes while he was walking, it would just look like, it looks really unnatural. And that might just be my brain telling me that can't actually work. So maybe that's why it looks unnatural to me. The only other thing I would say was I was kind of hoping it would wrap up the story of movies, of Chucky movies, with Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and Curse of Chucky. Wrap up that storyline. But in reality, with Nika and that storyline from Curse of Chucky, it makes sense that they were to keep it going. It does wrap up some stuff in a sense, but it doesn't wrap up the entire storyline. And I guess I kind of really enjoy that too. So that's why I give it a really high 4 out of 5. It's almost a 5. It's almost actually a perfect Child's Play movie. I think this is probably my favorite Chucky movie since Bride of Chucky. Because Bride of Chucky was one of those that just reimagined all of what we thought of the Child's Play movies. It made it darker, but also brought in a lot of humor element to it. There was actually, if you saw Curse of Chucky, there was less humor, very mild humor maybe, if anything. They do add a little bit more of that back in, but it's nothing like Seed of Chucky, where that was a comedy where they just added in some BS. It was more on the lines of Bride of Chucky, where it had humor, but also had a lot of seriousness and horror and psychological terror. So because of that, I think it's almost a perfect movie as far as that goes. Bride of Chucky is still my favorite all-time Chucky movie, next to Child's Play 2, and then Child's Play 1. But they're all really close, and they're all very fantastic movies. So if you haven't seen any of the Child's Play movies, go on Netflix, binge watch them. I believe that they have them all on Netflix at this time. They should. Netflix, get on it. It's October. Time to get ready for this shit. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to go check it out. It's a great movie. Also, before you leave, hit the subscribe button so you can come back and see all the other movies we got, or all our other reviews we got coming up. See you later.